Hey friends, it's Mr. Fulsang. We're back on our last day of outdoor education, and we got a treat for you. A couple of reminders before we close our class tomorrow. Remember, 8 a.m. we have a Google Hangout, so if you want to come hang out with me, that'd be great. And then on July 18th, that's a Saturday, we're having our Stoddard Kids Fishing Tournament. You can fish all week, the week up to the fishing tournament, and try to catch your biggest fish, biggest species, and take a picture of it, put it on Facebook, and then we can determine who has the biggest fish. So I hope you have a lot of fun doing that. And then that Saturday from 10 to noon, you can come to the Stoddard Boat Landing and pick up a prize, a medal, or a trophy, depending on how you did, and we can say hi to you and see how your fishing went. But today we have our friend Mr. Luke with us today with his dog Chuck, and they're going to show us a little bit about fly fishing. That's something we haven't talked about yet. We did bass fishing, we did cat fishing, we went on the pontoon and hung out, but today we're going to do a little fly fishing. So this is my friend Mr. Luke. Alright, here we go. How we doing today?
Hey, doing all right. How you doing?
We're doing great.
Good. This is my buddy Charlie right here, and he's good for fly fishing because they keep him around. He attracts flies. So, there's one. I got one. Thanks, Charlie. That's how I get my flies for fly fishing. So, I'm just kidding. We'll show you some flies here in a little bit. So this is my two-piece fly rod. Stick it together just like so. A lot of your traditional fishing rods are two-piece like that as well. And on the fly rod you have fly line, which is this yellow line, the thick line, and that's actually what you cast. Unlike normal fishing where you need some weight at the end of the line to cast, I can cast this, and I will in a little bit, without any weight on it at all, because the line itself is what gets casted. Alright, then we transfer from the yellow fly line to what's called the leader, and that's the clear line. And the leader is tapered, so it's thick at the butt end, and as it goes down and down and down, it gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner until you finally get to the end of it, and that's where you tie on your fly, which we'll talk about here in a moment. So I'm just going to string this up. Just going to take the fly line, double it over, start threading it through the ferrules, the little loops, wire loops on here that hold the line. See the guys over there mowing. That's good, because that should stir up some flies for us. I can catch some more flies. Perfect. Stepping on it. That's what I didn't want to know. Stepping on it. Alright, so we got our fly, all of our line out. Let's take a little look at some goodies here. So this is a typical fly vest that people would often wear to keep their all their goodies. Kind of like wearing a tackle box is really what it's like. Charlie? He's friendly. Kiss the camera and everything. Usually he kisses me, but today he's trying to kiss the camera. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about flies. This is a very popular fly in this area, in the Cooley area, called the pink squirrel. I actually tie them. I tie them myself. I might show you how to tie one later on. And if you ever go to Bob's, or it's called Island Outdoors now on French Island up in La Crosse, the ones that he sells there are ones that I tie. I just dropped off 10 of them at his store a couple days ago. I learned how to tie those from a guy named John Bethke in Westby. So of course I got his permission before I started selling them to that fly shop. So that's the pink squirrel. It's a very popular fly in this area. There's just kind of a selection of different flies. It's a whole, runs the gamut. All sorts of different flies. Some of them are dry flies, which sit on top of the water, look like little insects on top of the water. Some of them are wet flies, which mean that they float below, or they sink down below the water surface. Here's another one. Oh, here's one of my other favorites. I just love these guys. This is called a turkey leech, and I actually put a little extra dazzle on this one, but basically it's a normal turkey leech, where this feather is actually from a turkey that I shot. I know you're Mr. F here. He goes turkey hunting. He shot one this year. I didn't get one this year, so I'm a little salty about that, but we'll get over it. But this is from a turkey feather. This is from a turkey that I shot, I don't know, a couple years ago probably. And so that's the old turkey leech. There's all kinds of flies that you can use. What else do we have here? Here is a leader. Most leaders, lots of light that I use anyway, are 9 feet long. So I showed you where the fly line ends, that yellow line, from where the clear line begins all the way to the end is 9 feet. And you want to have a long leader, because obviously if the fish see this thick yellow line, they don't like that. It scares them. So you got to have a long, clear line called the leader. Now, when you put on that leader, when you get it right out of the bag like this, it's just one piece. But as you start fishing, just like with regular fishing, you might break your line at times, or you might snag it, or maybe a fish breaks it, or whatever, or you cut off your lure because you want to put on a new fly. So your leader gets shorter and shorter and shorter, and of course you can't have that. Leader's got to stay nice and long. So you'll see this one has been on this fly line for a long time. So I've got all sorts of little knots in there where I've tied on new section. In fact, this one's so tied up I could probably could stand to put a new leader on. I bet you there's a new knot here coming up pretty soon. Oh, no. So from here to here is all one piece. So that stuff that you tie on the end is called the tippet. That's really thin fly line that the fish hopefully can't see, and usually can, unless the water's really clear. And there are different sizes of tippet. This is called 3X, this is 4X. It also tells you the pound. 6.4 pound, this is 8.8 pounds. So the higher it goes, the thinner the line. I know this seems a little backwards, but that's the way it is. So 3X is thicker than 4X, and then it goes 5X, it goes all the way up to, I don't even know what all it goes all the way up to, but it's really, really thin. One more thing here. This is called strike indicator. You notice that in different types of fishing, sometimes they like to give things fancy names. It's really just a bobber. I don't know why they call it strike indicator, but well, I do know. It's because it indicates when you have a strike. So these are little foam kind, and there's a little sticky here. You just undo the sticky, the backing, and you can pinch it right onto your, I'll show you. I got enough of it. You just put that right onto your fly line, whatever depth you want it to be. If you're using a wet fly, that would go underneath the water. And then, I didn't do a very good job, but it really doesn't matter, so I'm not going to use it right now. And then you got a little bobber, and that floats on the top of the water, and you can see when a fish pulls on it, so you can set the hook. This is another kind of little strike indicator. This would be a bigger one, obviously. Around the creeks here, I don't really use something this big. I bought these when I was out west fishing on bigger rivers. Alright, now let's get on to a little bit of casting, the fun part. I'll show you a few different casts. And one of my favorite things about fly fishing is simply casting. Even when you're not catching anything, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's no fun. Well, it's more fun fishing when you're catching fish, clearly. But it's even fun just casting this thing. Even out here on the grass, I'll kind of enjoy these next few minutes casting this fly line. So, what I do is I strip some line off the reel, like so. Got a little bit of line hanging out there in the front. And then I kind of have a stance, like let's say I'm casting that direction. I kind of have a stance like if you're playing baseball and you're trying to hit the ball that way. That's sort of the stance I have. And I am right-handed, so I'll cast with my right hand, although I can cast with my left hand too. I'm a little bit ambidextrous. And I use what's called, I call it my trigger finger. That's what controls the line right there. And then when I want to let line out, I just let it slide through that finger. And if I want to stop it, I'll just hang on tight with that finger. So I go back a little bit, and forward, back and forward. And with my left hand right now, I'm controlling how much line I let out. And then Charlie gets really excited about fishing, even though we're not fishing right now. He doesn't understand it. But okay. So now I kind of misspoke a little bit. When I have, let's pretend I'm in the water right now. The line is in the water. Now I use that trigger finger because imagine if I didn't do that. If I just was like this and I tried setting the hook, I can't do it because there's nothing stopping that line. However, if I have my finger on there, and now if I set the hook, the line stops and I can set the hook in the fish's mouth. All right, so let's show this again. Ready? I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna hang on to the line. I'm gonna bring it back up to what we call 2 o'clock. If we imagine that this is 12 o'clock, as I'm looking at a clock. 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Shush, Charlie. I go up to 2 o'clock, let the line straighten out behind me, go to 10 o'clock, back to 2 o'clock, and it's just kind of mesmerizing watching that fly line go back and forth. As you can see, it's pretty exciting, isn't it, buddy? All right, now let me show you a couple other casts. Now let's say that I'm in a creek and right over here there's a whole bunch of bushes. I don't want to get caught up in those bushes. Well, I can do a backhand cast. I can just go like this. Same thing, just from the backhand side. Charlie, you're ruining the video, buddy. Kids aren't going to want to watch this. All right, now, how about let's pretend that I'm on a creek and there's trees all the way up above me. So I can't really do this overhand cast I'm doing. I got another cast just for that. I'll bring that line just like so. Charlie, come here. And then I'll do what's called a roll cast. I'll just real quickly snap this rod forward and roll the line. And I'll roll the line forward just like so. So that line never goes above maybe 8 feet in the air, so it doesn't get caught up in the trees. I'll show you that one more time. It's pretty quick, you gotta watch closely. Just like that. So those are some of the basics of casting. Of course, I can roll cast backhand, like that. And we can do sidearm, like so. Yeah, go play with it. So if I got trees up there, I can go sidearm. I can do a little sidearm on forehand cast. Lots of different casts to use in different situations. So I encourage you all, Charlie, don't. I encourage you all to get out and do some fly fishing. It's a wonderful type of fishing. It's a lifetime sport. You can do it forever. The guy that taught me how to tie the pink squirrel, he's in his upper 70s and he's still one of the best fly fishermen I know. Now, I know you're going to get out and do some fly fishing. I'm going to give you a couple of little tips here. There's a great place right in Coon Valley. There's a park in Coon Valley. It's a wide open space. You don't have to worry about trees and such. So if you go to the park, I don't remember the name of the park, but it's right on the main drag there in Coon Valley. It's a great place to learn how to fly fish. And there's some fish in there too. So you might just catch one. Today we're right behind these bushes here is a creek called Reeds Creek. We're near Reedstown, just south of Viroqua, and Reeds Creek runs right up along the highway, along Highway 14. So if you're between Viroqua and Reedstown, and you look over, if you're heading south, you'll see on the right-hand side of the road a little creek. That's Reeds Creek. I've caught fish in there before, so that's a good place to fish too. All sorts of great waters in Vernon County and La Crosse County as well. But those are a couple of really good ones. But remember, if you catch a big one, you got to tell Mr. F so that he can tell me, so I know where to go fishing next time that I go out. Okay, so that's the deal. All right. It's been good talking to you. I hope you've enjoyed it. And Charlie's had a good time, clearly. So that's it. I'm going to sign out here.
All right, friends. Happy last day of virtual summer school, and I hope everyone is doing well at home. I'm hoping we get to see you in August because we miss you, and we want to see all your faces. So take care and be good.